Hey YouTube, how you guys doing? This is Silver Husky. Just came across, actually not came across, I own this set of Compton's encyclopedias. And you know, they're actually really interesting. They're from 1963, but in addition to the 1963 set that I have over there, I've got 64, 65, 66, and 67 yearbooks, which are kind of like a year in review summary of what happened in the world, or at least in the United States predominantly during those years. And so I was flipping through them and I found that they all talk about coins. They all have a section that's specifically on coin collecting and what was going on in the world. So just wanted to read you guys a few little excerpts out of them to kind of give you a taste of history during these pivotal years, right? As you guys know, 1964 was the very last year for 90% silver coinage, and for the half dollars they dropped it back to 40%. So here it specifically talks about that. It was talking about how interest in the coin collecting community grew in the United States during 1963. It was estimated that there were some 8 million coin collectors in the US, compared with more than 5 million in 1962 and about 100,000 in 1950. Prices of US coins continue to rise. Interest centered on the proof sets. People like proof sets, rolls, and certain late date coins. In New York City, in May of 1963, an 1804 silver dollar, sometimes called the King of American Coins, was sold at auction for $36,000. I think that would have been probably a record back in that day. At the end of 1962, the U.S. Mint released a large quantity of New Orleans Mint silver dollars. Among them was a 1903 O, then cataloged at $1,500, 1904 O at $150, and an 1898 O at $300. Yeah, so that's kind of awesome. There were also, back in that day, copies and counterfeits from Russia and China. They call it Red China. But yeah, it's basically saying that they were almost indiscernible. You couldn't tell the difference if you didn't know what you were looking at. They were that good. So that was 1964. So here, 1965 is when they were actually talking about the Kennedys and how the Kennedys got switched up, right? It says that coin collectors in the United States reacted enthusiastically to the issuance of a 1964 Kennedy half dollar. They originally wanted to issue 90 million. By the end of it, they ended up issuing 150 million of those coins. Thousands of people lined up at the banks on March 24th when the coin first became available to the public. Although banks rationed the coins, and demand quickly outran the supply. So great was the demand of the proof sets, the sets of finest quality coins, especially made for collectors, containing the Kennedy half dollars, that the Mint cut off orders for the 1964 proof sets on January 11th. This is the earliest cutoff date in history to that date, right? So run on silver. This is when it started happening. In April, the Treasury authorized the sale of to the public of its reserves of silver dollars. Right, so back then the Treasury was hoarding tons of Morgan and Peace dollars. That's how they held their, I guess, their silver bullion. So hundreds of hoarders, speculators, and amateur coin collectors rushed to buy the coins, and they had hoped to cash in on the rarities, including high premium Morgan dollars that were part of the reserves. After the run had reduced the Treasury's supply of silver from 28 million to 3 million, right? And I'm guessing that's ounces. Maybe it's dollars, but I'm guessing it's ounces. Then the exchange had halted, right? The Treasury announced that people who wished to redeem silver certificates would receive silver crystals instead of cartwheels. Not too sure what cartwheels are. I'll have to look into that, and I'll let you guys know. And then it was just talking about how the President, Lyndon B. Johnson, authorized minting of 45 million silver dollars, which was the first issuance since 1935. Treasury set aside for collectors 1 million mint sets, including uncirculated regular-sized coins, and placed them on sale on May 1st. And within a week, it had received its orders for the entire supply. So anyways, really cool. Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. So Harry Truman apparently got his coin collection stolen at some point from the Truman Library in Independence, Missouri. It was about, so he got a replacement. A $50,000 coin collection was replaced with one of each coin ever minted in the United States, ever struck, and it was broken down by president, which president was in office at the time that they were, I guess that they were issued. Also, Swedish drivers brought up a casket full of gold coins from a shipwreck in the 18th century vessel discovered near Stockholm. Pretty awesome. And there's the Kennedy half dollar. I think that's it for this year. This was 1965. All right. So we go to 66. And in 66, it talks about coin collecting, the coinage. Okay, so here, a law was passed to alleviate a shortage of U.S. coins in general, and the silver coins in particular. It eliminated silver in dimes and quarters and provided that these coins should be made in a sandwich fashion, meaning what we see now, right? The two layers of copper nickel bonded to a copper core. The silver content of half dollars was cut from 90 to 40%. Another provision of the Coinage Act of interest to collectors was to eliminate mint marks from all coins for a 5-year period. So I'm not sure if that's still held for the 5 years, but they're basically saying that from thenceforth you would not have mint marks for 5 years. So also to ease the strain, they said that they did away with proof sets in 1965. I don't know that that's true because I actually did a quick search on eBay and I saw that there were proof sets on eBay. Yeah, here's a part of the stolen set. All right, this is, yeah, 2 federal agents, Merlin Moore and William, examined coins recovered from Chicago, Illinois as part of the collection of U.S. and British coins that was stolen from Yale University's Sterling Memorial Library. Interesting. Okay. So Treasury Department announced in 1965 that it intended to hold prices of silver at $1.29, so they could actually fix the price. And the reason they wanted to hold it at $1.29 was to prevent or discourage the melting of silver coins already in circulation. It had the authority to prohibit the melting and exporting of coins if the price of silver rose to $1.38 an ounce, right, making the melting profitable. So yeah, anyways, that was very interesting. Australia made new decimal coins to replace coinage based. Okay, yeah, that's probably not related to the United States too much. And oh, here's one interesting. Coin collectors were interested in a report that a Spanish galleon had been located on the seabed off the coast of Florida. We all know that today to be the Treasure Coast, which is like by Vero Beach. It was founded by Real 8 Corp, and they had recovered 1.6 million in gold coins from another sunken ship in 1964. So they were out there looking, and this is the very beginning of the Spanish galleon that they found. I don't even know how many ships. I believe it was 1715 was the year. So moving forward to the section called money, the silverless silver coins, right? On July 23rd, President Lyndon Johnson signed the Coinage Act of 1965. This provided the elimination of all silver in U.S. dimes and quarters and the reduction of silver content and half dollars to 40%. New dimes and quarters consisted of 2 layers. We talked about that already. It was decided to flood them into the market in large quantities to discourage coin hobbyists and hoarders of coins from draining off supplies as they were put into circulation. Plans called for a mintage of some 3.5 billion of the new coins within 12 months, and the president urged that there be no hoarding of these 12 billion silver dimes, quarters, and 50-cent pieces estimated to be in circulation. The vending machine industry was happy to hear the new pieces would operate in automatic dispensing units, right? And here you can see this is the method that they did, the 2 layers with the copper core. That's called cladding, right? So for anybody who doesn't know that, this is what our coins look like today, and that happened way back then. So yeah, and a little bit on gold and domestic. Gold, a domestic and world problem. Communist China was a large buyer of gold from London in the England market. It was thought that the Red China had made purchases to help it become as independent as possible in world trade because it feared holding much currency reserve in British pounds sterling, which has shown signs of deflation in value. So this is probably not too different from what they've been doing this whole time. It's, I guess, their methodology. And so very interesting. Let's move to I think this one is 1967. Yeah, 1967. Okay. So coin collecting, let's see. Congress, perceiving the danger, passed a bill to date as 1964. All coins minted during the shortage, as coin with a reduced silver content went into production. The old high silver coin retained a 1964 mark, while new lower silver ones were updated. The changeover was the first slow one. The silverless dime and half dollar did not come into circulation until March 1966. More than 7 months after President Lyndon B. Johnson had signed the bill. Right, so this is still talking about the changes, right? They did a coin for the royal wedding. They did a change to the U.S. nickel, where the Jefferson nickel now carries its designer's initial FS below the collar, right? And a newly minted shekel. Okay, that's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that one. Awesome. Okay, so not a whole lot here. It's just talking about different things that were happening with currency. So I think this is when things started to die down and slow down. So anyways, just giving you guys a little bit glimpse into the past, glimpse into history on how the whole coinage changed from 90% to 40% in halves, but really to clad in everything else, and eventually clad in the halves as well. Kind of interesting how that works, but yeah, also recording this on my new awesome GoPro. I know it's kind of weird using a GoPro for a in-home little video or vlog, but yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. So anyways, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if there's any other pieces of this history that maybe weren't covered in these yearbooks. Maybe it wasn't even discovered at the time. I know a lot of things may have been hidden, but I thought it was pretty awesome being able to take a peek into the past. So also sections on mining. That's kind of awesome. So anyways, all right. See you guys soon.